Welcome to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. I am sitting across from one of the guys in a band called Broncho. I'd love you to introduce yourself.
I'm Ryan from Broncho.
Just before this interview, you went out and had a smoke, and while you were looking for your lighter, I saw that your pockets are filled with tons of crap. Would you like to dig into your pockets now and tell me about one or two odd objects?
Well, I have these two balls here. I picked them up last night. I think that you probably do something like this with them.
Remember, this is radio, so you need to describe these balls and what you're doing with them.
These balls have balls on them. You know, it's like one main ball, and then it's like, 12 smaller balls that encompass the greater ball, which is the center of its universe. So I got those two things. I got a CD. This is a friend of ours.
You wisely moved away from talking about those balls in your hands.
I just want to get it to everything, you know. I got this rock. Seemed like a pretty interesting rock, so it made its way in there. I have a lot of receipts.
You have to describe the rock in detail, because that doesn't really look like a rock.
It doesn't, does it? That's why I kept it. It looks like a bone, if anything. Maybe like a rib, you know, like a really old rib. But I don't think it is. I think it's just a rock. But I've got these balls. I mean, I could talk about these balls for a lot longer.
I'm sure that some listeners would love to hear you talk about those balls. How about instead I play a song by Broncho? How about I play Class Historian?
Sounds great.
back to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. You just heard the song Class Historian by a band called Broncho. I have Ryan from the band here sitting with me in the backstage area, and I'd love you to talk about this track.
I was class historian in high school. I ran for that office, and I won it. And
for those who don't know, what is a class historian?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think I was probably supposed to be taking notes of everything that was happening culturally with our class. I didn't quite do that. I'm a procrastinator, so I'm not gonna do my work, and I didn't. But what I do know is I ran for that office and I won it,
So, for instance, what's one example of something that a class historian might record in their final year of high school?
I probably went to maybe a couple parties and wrote down some key events that happened at that party. Maybe who showed up. That's what I should have done. Maybe we should think about what the class historian's role is going forward. We should define that, because it wasn't very defined when I was there. It was purely like, hey, this is my friends are running for other things. Like, you should run for this. Like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Class historian. That seems like the job for me. But I could probably embrace that role a lot more now. Now that I'm an adult, and might go to a few parties and really actually jot down notes on those events. That seems like the responsible thing to do.
In the background, they are checking things. You might hear that. So let's loop it back to the song, though. Class historian, what inspired you to write about that role in your life in high school?
Well, I think it was the 10-year reunion was coming up, and I think I knew that I wasn't going to make it to the reunion. So my body and mind was probably flooded with all kinds of emotions of post-high school thoughts, and I think it just came out in the song. That would be my guess. I haven't fully assessed why exactly it came out, but I think that'd be my guess as to what happened.
All right. I was reading about Broncho today while preparing for this interview, and a music writer described Broncho as a band that a boyfriend and a girlfriend could both simultaneously get a crush on, and I thought that was a really sweet thing to say.
That is very sweet, and we're way into three-ways, and that's probably it's probably beneficial, if I can get the husband and the wife, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, then maybe we're doing something right. That's good to know. I'm glad we're on course. That's one of our goals.
I would love to hear about a band that maybe you and your girlfriend both have a crush on.
We don't really listen to music together. I don't listen to a ton of music. What I've been listening to lately, and this is really good for the van as far as like traveling a lot. I've been listening to Rainstorms, and it's really calming. And if you're in the van, you just like listen to that, you eventually doze off, and then you wake up and you're in the next town and you're still listening to a rainstorm.
That sounds beautiful. I think that it's about time to play another Broncho track. I'm going to play It's On. So I'd love you to tease this track for the listeners.
It's on, baby.
You're going to have to do it again when he's not talking over you.
It's on, baby. It's on. It's kind of...
I don't know. Do you want to go outside?
It might be quiet.
We're going to leave this noisy backstage area and find a quieter place outside. right, we're outside. It's no longer a noisy sound check behind us. You just heard the track. It's On by a band called Broncho. And I've got Ryan here, and I would love it. Oh, wow. That stone from earlier turned out to be super, super handy. He just pinned down my paper and my notes. So I'd love you, Ryan. Thank you, first of all. But I'd love you to talk about that track.
It's On. It's really based on this night that we spent in Los Angeles with our friend Larry. He's an old LA guy, and he showed us a great night. One that I'll remember for the rest of my life, just one of those nights. There were a lot of jokes were made that night, and somehow a few months later that song happened, and I think it really had to do with that night.
Broncho, you started off as 3 guys. You've added 2 women to the group. I'd love you to talk about how that can change tour bus dynamics.
It changes the dynamics for sure, having even more people. Because I think, like, I've toured with guys, I've toured with girls. I don't think there's necessarily anything to... A lot of people stereotype girls are all the same. Like, you don't want a girl on tour. I've toured with a lot of girls who are, like, awesome on tour. I've toured with guys that are awful on tour. Like, it's different. But we've made a lot of sense together. Like, we've clicked. We all have the same goals, and also, you can't get away with certain things you could get away with when it's just like 4 guys stuck in a van for like...
What's one of those things?
I can't talk about it now. I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, then how about instead you just compare band dynamics with before and after the additions to the band?
It's you don't mind if I chew gum here, do you?
I don't.
You want a piece? This is the best gum.
I'd love a piece. What is it?
Tropical Twist Trident.
Wow.
You're going to love this gum.
Those bottomless pockets have come in very handy.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Yeah, dynamics are good. I think it's important to have diversity in your crew, as long as everybody's on the same page, and we are. So it's like, it's a good mix, You get more people's point of view. Like having two girls' point of view is really important when we're like discussing things.
All right, Broncho, I read in an interview that it started out as a way of describing a certain type of guy. What type of guy is that?
Yeah, it was kind of like, it seemed like maybe a dude, just a typical dude was a Broncho, but I don't really know. I never fully developed that idea, but it was a lyric in a song. There's a lot of lyrics that don't necessarily, I couldn't really explain how they make sense, but for some reason it showed up. Really what it was a mispronunciation of something in a movie, which was borracho, which means drunk. I would say Broncho, and then I found out later it was borracho. Well, yeah, I don't know. It makes no sense. It's really hard to explain this to, like...
I think your explanation was perfect.
It made sense. It makes sense in Canada.
I think that it's time to play another track by Broncho. I'm going to play NC-17.
Very enticing rating when you're a kid. If something's NC-17, you're going to want to see it. You're going to want to see that movie. If they wanted kids to not watch it, they should rate it like G. Hi, I'm Ryan from Broncho, and you're listening to The Interview Show with Scott Wood.
back to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. You just heard the track NC-17 by a band called Broncho. I've got Ryan here in an alleyway with me. I'd love you to tell the listeners about this track.
NC-17, it's about the time when I couldn't get in to see an NC-17 movie, you know? There was a period of my life where people were handing those movies off, you know, like somebody might have one at school and everybody hears about it, and then you end up like, you go over to that friend's house and you watch that movie. It didn't matter what the movie was, it's just that it had that rating. You know, I remember the rating more than I remember the actual movie.
I was reading that when you go on tour, one of the things...
That is a really huge bird. Like, doesn't that, and kind of looks drunk?
That is a Canada goose.
Okay, they're huge. We don't have, you know, I guess we have Canadian geese. They eventually make their way down to us, but that just looks extra big. Is that not extra big? He does seem hurt or drunk. Or is that how they walk?
They're basically domesticated and eat garbage, so they are fat because of that reason, but... For the listeners, we're standing behind the Electric Owl, and across the street there is a big parking lot where people for the bus station can park, and right now there's two drunk Canada geese tromping around in that parking lot.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So anyways, my question was, on tour, one of the things that you have to take with you is your trusted blanket. So I'd love you to tell me about that blanket.
My blanket is a hunter green, which I like green. I think it brings out the color in my eyes. It's good to have green around. Pop your eyes now and again, especially when you're getting ready to go to sleep. It's a sleeping bag. Hunter green, forest green sleeping bag. There's nothing like getting in a sleeping bag when you're away from home, you know? It's like a little cocoon. Wrap yourself up in it. Throw on some headphones, listen to a rainstorm, really just check out, you know.
Or we could listen to a track by Broncho. I would love to listen to an older track so people can get a sense of how you guys are evolving. So how about you pick a track off your first record?
Okay, from the first record.
We just gave the salute to somebody walking on the street.
This is Nathan's brother, Matthew.
Sorry, it's interview time. How's it going, Ryan? Good to see you. Welcome to Canada again.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, so Nathan.
Say hi.
Hi, I'm Matthew. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, so Nathan's brother lives up here. Nathan's our drummer. He's a true Canadian. Like, we have a little bit of Canadian in us.
I do. Your label?
Our label's Canadian.
And your drummer's brother.
And
That's right. That's right.
he's Canadian.
Proud to be.
We're
How about you give us a perspective on Broncho that only a drummer's brother could give us?
Yes, that's
Sorry, I'm not good on the spot. I just love him dearly. I'm gonna take him for dinner. Yeah. Do you have a good suggestion locally? Are you a Vancouverite?
I am a Vancouverite.
Tell me where to eat.
What type of food do you like?
Something Asian,
Ooh, yes.
like Thai.
Thai food downtown, I don't know, but you can't go wrong with sushi.
Let's do sushi. Okay.
How about you tell me why you love Broncho?
You know, when I listen to Broncho, I just let loose. That's it. Let loose.
So do your thing, and then we can finish.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
So bad on the spot. I just ruined it. Where is he? Where's Nathan? This way? This way?
Through that door that's open right
Okay.
You'll see him. He's in there pounding.
Okay.
You did great. I love your answer.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good brother.
Oh yeah, you were gonna pick an older track.
Get Off My Reservations is another one that might be good.
All right, we're gonna listen to "Get Off My Reservations" by a band called Broncho off their first record, "Can't Get Past the Lips," which is a great title for a record. Welcome back to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. You just heard a track chosen by Ryan from Broncho. Ryan, what track did you choose for us to listen to?
Get Off My Reservation.
Why would you like us to hear this track?
It seemed like, I haven't heard it in a long time. I thought maybe other people should hear it. There's probably two things going on in this song. One of them is we live in Oklahoma, so obviously there's a Native American aspect of Oklahoma in our history, and so some of it is about the people who lived there before we did. It's partly just a play on like these people being here and saying like, get off my reservation. It's that simple. But there's also like the other thing of it where like people have certain reservations. So maybe that is a little bit into play. I haven't thought about that song in a long time, so it's hard for me to really even think about what was going through my mind, you know?
Ryan, thank you very much for spending some time with me today. It's the end of the show, so I let the artist pick one of their own tracks to talk about, and then I bring that track up. So,
are you gonna play it as well? I think you should play Stop Trickin'. This is a song that we started working on pretty late in the process of the record, but it's one of those songs that just happened really quickly, and it just seemed to work, and we didn't really have to do much to it, and so that's always nice, you know, and things just, you don't have to do a lot of work. Those are the best times. So yeah, that's what it is. That's the song. Hi, I'm Ryan from Broncho, and you're listening to the interview show with Scott Wood.
And now your drummer has come to collect you for dinner.
Yeah. Soundcheck. Congress.